And we're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. I'm so excited to bring Laura to you today. She and I met at a networking event in this other group, and it was really cool. We didn't get to talk a lot, so I'm excited to get to know her a little better. Laura is a spiritual healer and coach. And yeah, thank you for being here, Laura.
Happy to be here. And thanks again for inviting me. For those who are watching, I didn't expect to do an interview with Derek. I just was hoping to hop on a coffee chat or something like that with him because he obviously has such a great energy about him. But lo and behold, here we are. And I get to share a little bit about myself and what I do and how it can potentially serve you if you're interested in the services that I provide. But Derek, if it's okay, maybe I can share a little bit about my story and then talk about how my services might be able to help people.
Yeah, people don't really know you, so definitely share who you are, where you're from, what you do, and why you do it, and your story. We'd love to hear it.
Of course. So my story is a little bit unorthodox. As you mentioned, I am a spiritual life coach and an energy healer. And this was not in the plan whatsoever. I really had no idea what those terms even meant, let's say 8 years ago. But during a period of my life where I started going to school to become a psychotherapist, I discovered throughout that program that I was starting to experience more of the spiritual side of myself. There was a series of events that happened that awakened me, and not only just on a personal level, like a psychological level, but on a physical level. I started having crazy body sensations. I could sense people in terms of if they were having anxiety, I would start getting these like jitters, or if they were dealing with fear, I would start feeling hot, and it really caught me off guard. I had no idea what was happening, and I went and searched and tried to find resources about what was happening to me, and it became very clear that my perception, my intuition were heightening. I was becoming very in tune and sensitive with the energies in me and with and without me, right? And that sent me into a little bit of a spiral. Honestly, I was already about a year and a half into my counseling degree, my master's in counseling, and I started questioning whether doing traditional psychotherapy was the route for me. That's what everyone in the program was going to be doing, right? I would voice, I don't know, there's just something, I'm being pulled in this other direction. And I kept getting advice from professors and other students like, just complete it, just go all the way, just might as well. But there was this persistent gnawing at me that I was designed to do something different, a little more alternative, a little more edgy in a sense, and quite frankly, a little bit taboo because there's so many different labels and stigmas around the whole spiritual realm, the whole spiritual community, all of that. And I resisted it. I didn't want to go down that road. I even told myself, I was like, why would you put yourself through that journey, which is pretty uncharted and doesn't lead to necessarily job security, that safety element. And I toyed with just graduating with the degree and not getting the license and going and doing my own healing practice, which I felt very passionate, very called for. And another part of me that wanted to stay back and just do the ho hum, get the degree, go into a mental health clinic and start giving traditional therapy because it just felt safer. But as with all good things in life, there's different challenges and obstacles that we have to face within ourselves to get to the higher goal, higher level. And I said, okay, well, there's no resisting this. I I'm either betraying myself or I'm going into this new uncharted world. So I did eventually come to peace with the fact that I was here to do energy work. I was here to offer more of an intuitive level of guidance for people. And so I got my master's in counseling, and within the same year of completing my coursework, I opened my private practice for coaching for energy healing. And it was a mess at first. Yeah, it was a mess. The first year was just trying to roll with opening a new business and getting clear on who I served and what I did. And there were times where I thought I was going to be doing more like health related things for people. But again, my spirit was like, you need to stay aligned. Go into the uncomfortable place, which says you're a little bit weird for doing this. Because what comes up? What comes up when we feel like our purpose, our passion is a little quirky and odd? What do? Like we don't show up on Facebook. We don't like sharing our message. We don't start marketing ourselves. We hide. We're afraid to be seen. We're afraid to be heard. And I had to go through the first about year or two, go through the inner transformation of I'm safe to be seen in who I am and what I do. And that's not an easy thing. So I'm sure a lot of your audience have different healing practices or offer services that a lot of people don't understand or might even label demonic or evil, right? There's a lot of judgment from people out there who think doing any sort of subconscious work or um, alternative healing practices is in some way, ugh, I mean, let's just call it what it is, like evil. Um, so that's a whole process as well. But so that's kind of the evolution of how I've gotten to where I am now. But like I wanted to ask you if because I know you do energy work and this isn't about you, but did you find yourself like in anything that I was sharing? Did you like relate to anything?
All of it. It's all it's really funny. I was really relating to you know, that place of uncomfort. That's where nobody wants to go, but that's where all the learning takes place. And we can't grow unless we go there. And that was part of, I mean, it's obviously a big part of your journey, but definitely a big part of my journey too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the more intuitive you are, you're so aware of people's perceptions. You can almost take on their perceptions as your own perception, but finding that alignment within ourselves, finding ourselves rooted in who we are, that's the only way we can move forward.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still working on that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And so, what do I do now, right? I help primarily, and not all of my clients, not all my soul clients are entrepreneurs, but I serve primarily women entrepreneurs because there's certain inner wounds, okay, call them core wounds, whatever you want, that run so deep, if not addressed, like the fear to be seen, the fear of rejection, the fear of like what people will think, right? If those things are not healed on a subconscious level, the women will not show up in their business. They won't show up fully, or they might even stop. And when you said it's a continual thing, right? You're working on yourself. It doesn't ever stop, but there are certain wounds that once you bump up against them, they can either take you out of the game, right? Or they can severely slow your progress.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working with. Okay, so all of that to say, most of the women that I work with deal with some of these inner wounds that are severely holding them back. And when they clear those, it's like I'm always so excited to see months later that the thing that they were struggling with is so transformed. Like I worked with a makeup artist, and I hope she doesn't mind me sharing, but she's always had this fear of being seen. She couldn't even on a group chat with her parents and her siblings, she couldn't even share good news when she was featured in magazines for doing work for famous people. And and so when she came to me, she was like, this is holding me back because I can't share on social media. I can't share with people around me. And it's limiting my ability to get new clients and such because I'm just not showing up. And we had to go deep into that. And I have recently seen, so I've been working with her for about a year, but she has now been publicly sharing. She worked with the royal family in India. She has just been featured in a major magazine. And it's like literally when I see her online now, she's a completely different woman. I told her, you're in your fierce woman era because you would not know that she was held back by that wound for so long. So that's just one example. But I think that's what brings me the most satisfaction is like I had to go through my own, let's say, rejection of who I was in order to come to the other side and go, you know what, lady, you don't have to reject yourself. You can step fully into yourself. You can serve at a higher level and you can transform this world. Because when you're leading with heart, when you're leading with from the soul, the whole world, the whole world benefits. We set an example for the younger women and the older women. We are that shining example, and we really desperately need that right now.
Do you feel like we attract clients that also heal ourselves, that also like maybe we need to hear the same thing that maybe we're teaching them or helping them with?
So can you restate that question?
It came to me as like, kind of intuitively as you were speaking that not only was that something your client needed to hear, but maybe it was something you were working on for yourself as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's one of the most big, I would say biggest blessings of the work that I do is that it aids in my own evolution. Because even though I was 5 steps ahead of her when I started working with her, pull, pulling the energy to support her in what she was going through allowed me to rise higher in that same area of my life. And as you mentioned, it never stops. We just keep going higher.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about, I was curious when you were talking about the uncomfort part, was there something that really triggered that, okay, this is the moment that I have to make the change?
Mm. When I went into doing the spiritual like healing and
Yeah.
coaching full time. Okay. So having first of all, having grown up in a pretty like evangelical Christian worldview, there was a lot there, like religious trauma. Okay. And some people might understand this, some people might not, but the fear of going against one God or going against the people that you love that have that worldview, it's crippling. It's really crippling because you can come from the most loving place in your heart to want to serve people, and you could have people around you saying, you're an evil person. This is not godly. This is not the way. And you can know. you're doing it purely out of just love, setting people free, and those people will not understand. So there's that, and the deeper root is this fear of hell. If you're so indoctrinated that hell is a real thing, I mean, a literal thing, you don't even want to question, you don't want to even venture out of any bounds of doctrine that tells you that you're safe if you stay in this particular worldview. So I had to detach a bit from that. And so once I did, and it was definitely difficult to process all of the religious trauma that I had been through. Um, but when I kind of came out of that, I felt in a place where I knew that my heart was good. I knew it was good. And that provided me the safety to say, hey, I believe even if there's a God, he will know my heart is, my intention is so good here. Like he knows. He, she, they know. They know. And that's what helped me, that tipping point where I was like, okay, hands up in the air, I surrender. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. This either flops or it goes great. I'm safe to experiment. I'm safe to mess up. I'm safe to be wrong. Um, so I came to that point and I tried to work. I tried to work at a health clinic for a while, coaching. Traditionally, I saw at least 100 people a week. It was insane for like a couple years. Yeah. As I was building my private practice on the side, I guess you could say. And it was so hard. It was hard not to be doing what I loved full time, but it was deflating because the traditional setup of working for someone else, it doesn't provide you true space of creativity. And it's also, I would say, not as fruitful because there's like this cap of how much you can grow financially, like spiritually, professionally, like there's just caps. And so once I got to a point where I didn't feel they were compensating me according to my degrees, they didn't even want to reevaluate. I was like, I have to honor myself. I have to take another step. That was my next step. And that's when I went full time in my business.
Okay. Wow. So you primarily help women entrepreneurs, and you've done some health coaching. And so just talk, you mentioned you had a client that needed to be seen. What
Mm,
else do your clients, are they looking for when they come to you, or do you primarily help people with?
yeah. So originally, you mentioned I was doing health coaching for a while, and I was, and that was kind of like a funny in between because it's like it's seen as not as taboo, but it's also using a lot of the skills that I wanted to be using, like coaching. And I also run a support group for women who emotionally eat. So that has been a thing that I do on the side, just philanthropy. It's not my business, right? But when I started working more with women who are just entrepreneurs, so not related to their health, business growth, basically showing up fully, being seen, stepping into their purpose, not doing what they think they should be doing in business, but actually doing what they want to be doing. Um, because even when you venture into doing entrepreneurship, you can still pick a safe route that's not the thing that you want to be doing. So I help women, a lot of women, let's say, let go of the route that they thought was right and transition into the realm where they actually are excellent in. So there was one woman in the business group that I coach in. She originally was a florist. And her work is beautiful. I mean, the arrangements she would make, the events that she would do, really stunning. But she didn't really want to do it. She was like, I make money doing it. It's kind of exhausting because I have to always be out and she's like, I really want to do more helping people set up tech systems. She had like kind of a techie, I know you would, it was like completely different, right? And I'm like, that's interesting. She's like, yeah, it would provide me the space to work from home. I would be able to like really connect with people, their pain points, that provide solutions. So it was more of a people type of situation, not just like, oh, give them their flowers, set up the arrangement and then leave, right? So there was actually a lot of soul truth there for her, a real passion for what she was doing, and then that connection element that she wanted. So in the business group, we did some work around that. I provided some coaching on that. And she ended up transitioning into doing basically back end system support and VA work. And she is really excited about that. She's still growing. But it's funny because just because you start a business doesn't mean that's the business you're going to stick with.
Yeah, wow. That's so true. So
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Laura, I don't want to take too much of your time. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I actually, when I read your email mentioning what we could talk about on the call, there was a part that said what I would provide or what I would offer someone who's watching to further work with me or to get in touch or something like that. And I do have a program coming up this summer. So I'm going to be actually announcing it publicly this month, probably mid-month. I have been talking about it in my email list with all the people that are already in my client base, but it's called The Abundant Queen, and it's a 3-day immersive experience for women who are ready to allow wealth in from a place of ease and flow and from a state of empowerment. So, not chasing and trying to get, because as feminine beings, we thrive when we tune into our own cycles, our own energy, rest when we need to, take action when we need to. It's this non-linear cyclical thing. And if we can tap in and tune into that, wealth, the channels of wealth just flow so much easier into our life. So we're going to be doing a lot of immersive work on that. And it will be actually coming out in July. So signups are going to happen this month, but in July we're hosting it. So if anyone wants to potentially be part of that program, they can add themselves to my subscriber list on my website. My website is liftedwithlaura.com. And there are multiple spots on the website, the homepage, as well as all the other pages, my blog, etc., where at the bottom there's a subscriber box. And if they put their name and their email, they'll start getting the announcements about the program. And I do highly recommend it to anyone who's struggling with allowing money to be easy, allowing wealth to multiply from a place of expansion and not effort and force. Um, so yeah, that's the best resource I have for them right now. Of course, they can work one-on-one with me, liftedwithlaura.com. There's that. But otherwise, I mean, I would just be happy if they said hello and sent me a message or followed me on Instagram. Same, Lifted with Laura. I just love interaction. I'm here for the connection, so there's no pressure to join anything or do anything. Just say hello.
Yeah, but that sounds amazing. Who doesn't want a little more money to flow into their life, right? So,
Course. Yeah. And no matter where you're at, too, as you were saying, there's a step up, right?
yeah,
So you could be struggling paycheck to paycheck right now, or you could be making good money, but you feel it's just somehow disappearing and you just don't know where it's going. It's going to serve any woman who's dealing with any kind of like money issues.
amazing. Amazing. Laura, thank you so much for doing this. Any last words for the group?
I just want to thank you. I'm really happy I met you at the networking group, and I would love to stay connected. And hopefully, if anyone in your group like wants to reach out, you can send them my way. But otherwise, I just really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm sure the group appreciates you. I'm so glad we got to do this. Yeah, so thank you for doing this. Thank you who's ever watching, if you're watching us live, or if you're watching this later, that's okay too. And we appreciate you. If you want to connect with Laura, if you resonated with anything she said, just reach out to her. You can put in the comments, you can say hello, and she'll see it, or I'll let her know that someone wants to talk to her. She's going to put in the comments her links, her website, and maybe whatever else, her Instagram account, maybe she can do that, or whatever else she wants to put in there. And yeah, if you like what we're doing here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive, comment interview, and we'll interview you too, so you could be highlighted in the group and we can share your gifts. So thank you again, Laura, and thank you everybody for watching. And we'll see everybody at the next one.